This story has just come out as well. Man City are now progressing on a deal to sign Bouaddi. How excited are you about that young man coming into your club?
I don't know. Sorry. I've never watched him for Lille once. I'm not the type of person that's to lie to people and pretend like I watched him for Lille. Yeah, I ain't fucking watched this guy once for Lille. I watched him, I think maybe 4 times. Or was it 3? 3 or 4 times in the World Cup. I thought against Brazil, it was excellent. Fucking dog walk Bruno G. Yeah, so hold that. But then I seen him against, I think it was Scotland. I think he done all right there. I watched him in another game and he was okay. Nothing special. Listen, bro, he's an 18-year-old. A lot of people who have watched him reckon he's going to be like top tier, but he'll be inconsistent. I can guarantee you that. He'll probably drop a couple stinkers because he's young, and that's what happens when you buy young players. But I've just got to hope and pray that the club know what they're doing on this. The thing is, what about this signing, Terry? Yeah, is that it's a binary outcome. You know Bruno G, right? Bruno G could go to Arsenal, and he might not set the world alight, but he's not going to be completely ass, is he? He might go there and he might just be average, and we might go, oh, you know what? He actually didn't do that well, but he done all right. He's not Bruno G. I would struggle to see a world in which 3 years' time I'm sitting on here saying Bruno G flopped at Arsenal, because it's not that type of signing. It's not that type of player or profile. He's going to go there. He could do bits. He could do all right, but he's probably not going to flop, right? With Bouaddi, we don't have that middle option, because he's either going to be mint or he's going to be a flop. Because if he's okay, he'll still be sold, and that means he's a flop. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I look at Bruno G to Arsenal as your example here, and I think it's as close to a slam dunk as you can get.
But it's not going to fail, is it? It's not going to fail.
No.
I agree. Yeah. I think Bruno G is going to go to Arsenal and do really well. But there's a chance he might just do okay. But he's not going to flop. He's not going to flop. No one's going to tell me that Bruno G is going to flop at Arsenal, right? But he might just do okay. But that's okay. But with Bouaddi, that middle ground doesn't exist because of who he is and what he's going to be doing. But Bouaddi's coming in to replace Rodri. So he's either going to do it and be very good at it. All right, it's not going to be Rodri levels, but he's going to be competent and good, and he's going to be a solid DM, or he's going to be ass. Because there's no middle ground. There's not a middle option here of he does okay, because okay won't be good enough. Okay's not going to be good enough for that position. You're gonna have to be very good, and if he's not, he'll be sold. So it's a lot of money to put on red. Basically, you're putting money on red or black here. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing, and that's what I'm saying to people that like don't ask me really about Bouaddi, like, because I don't really know anything about him, and it's either gonna work or it's not gonna work.
Well, what's in? Yeah, look, I when I say Bruno G is as close to a slam dunk as you can get, he's already a proven footballer at the highest level. We know the level he's got to. The young players, they not only may fail when moving countries, they may not progress into the players we expect them to be. There are a lot of money, young, talented, hyped up players, and there's for every player that does what Jude Bellingham has done, you get. And I saw this player's name come up because he's linked to a return back to the Premier League. It made me smile. It was Moussa Dembele. Do you remember Moussa Dembele when he was up in Scotland? Everyone was, oh, this player's a baller. I forgot he played football. And the issue that you have with all young signings is that there is a chance they become Jude Bellingham, a chance they become an Mbappe, a chance they become a Cesc Fabregas, a chance they become Erling Haaland. There is also a chance in 2 years' time they move to an obscure club, and then randomly they get a link to a Premier League team in 5 years' time. You go, fucking hell, I forgot about him. And we know that happens every couple of years. You remember seeing a player like that. It's only 12 months ago, bro. Everybody wanted Jean Duran. Everybody wanted Duran. Oh, player. Now, I don't think he's not a talented player, but it's more attitude, it seems, or application of his game. He's now, no one wants him anymore as an example. So it's a risk, especially if Bouaddi is the guy you're bringing in to replace Rodri. And that would be I think Bouaddi's excellent. I watched him play a number of times in the French league. I think he's such a talented young player, but if Rodri goes and he's the guy to replace him, I think there's so much pressure, mate. I think it's a ridiculous amount of pressure to put on an 18-year-old.
There's pressure on anyone, but you're right. On an 18-year-old that's, to be fair, he's actually quite experienced for his age. Considering he's 18 years old, I think he's played like 120 games. He's played about 30 games in European competition. I think it's about even split, 10 in the Champs, 10 in Europa, 10 in the Conference. He's played in a World Cup. So for his age, he is actually quite experienced. But obviously, it's not experienced, like legit. Listen, it is what it is, man. I can't lie, man. This Bruno G thing stressed me out, man. Honestly, I'm bored about this.
Menace to Society says, but according to you, we shouldn't overspend though, Terry. It depends on who and how much by. So I'll give you an example. Man United should go nowhere near dropping £50 million on Tyler Adams. He's a £25 million player and ain't good enough. That, for me, would be ridiculously overspending. Would I spend £100 million, 110, 120 million on Tchouaméni every day of the week? You see, there's a difference here. It's about the quality that you're getting. So I actually also think Arsenal were right to not go in and go, okay, Newcastle, there's 100 million. Not because the player isn't good, but also you set a precedent. If you look at these attackers that Spurs are trying to sign, all three clubs, Liverpool with Gakpo, City with Savinho, and Jackson and Chelsea, it's going to be, hang on, we've seen them massively overpay to a point where City and United and Arsenal all walked away from deals. We're going to push them for even more money. And in the short term, you don't notice it. But in the longer term, if you're overpaying on fees and overpaying on wages, remember, 50% of all transfers fail. This is a proven fact that every top sporting director and owner will tell you. 50% of transfers fail. If you're overspending on lots of transfers, it does it creates what Man United have got. Hundreds of millions of pounds of transfer debt that you can't get your money back on to reinvest. So there is a difference here. I don't mind overspending on a player that I think is almost certain to be a success. And even if they're not quite brilliant, as LB has said, you can still move them on and get a bit of your money back, or they're still going to do a decent job. The problem is when you spend £90 million on a £25 million Anthony from Ajax, pay him 200 grand a week, and then end up losing £60 million when you sell him. There's a difference here. And this is the problem when it comes to talking transfers. It isn't monolithic. Not every club and every situation is identical in every deal. And it's about having bespoke conversations. The problem is for people like you, the reason you are a menace to society is because you just lack IQ, my friend. And you can't have these conversations. I want United to do what Arsenal are doing. This is a ridiculous thing to say. We're not in their position to behave like them at this moment. The irony is you guys want to be Arsenal now, but you don't want to put in the work and the groundwork and the foundations that got them to this point. I saw some United fan, this is the maddest bit, LB, I looked at his Twitter. One tweet is saying, I want us to be more like City. City embarrasses with how well run they are. The next tweet was, when are they getting done for their cheating? I went, hang on. So you're moaning that we're not like City, but you're also saying they're cheats. So if they're cheats, we can't be like them anyway, can we? Because you say they're not even doing it. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's like there's no consistency in these.
I completely agree. I think you're spot on. I say this all the time. Your club, the way your club operates, changes as depending on the state of the squad. Tottenham Hotspur had to overpay for players this summer because they almost got fucking relegated and they finished in the bottom 4, bottom 5, 2 years in a row. They're in crisis. They had to overpay. And they've overpaid. They've overpaid for Fernandez and they've overpaid for Tonali. Now, if I was a Tottenham, I don't care about that. It's irrelevant to me. Like, you needed to do that. Arsenal, on the other hand, Arsenal didn't need to go and spend £116 million on Elliot Anderson. Because why do they need to go and overpay? We've overpaid for Elliot Anderson. Am I bothered? No, because I needed Anderson. I needed that profile. So what they've gone, you know what? We're going to get Bruno G at 80 million. Fantastic signing. That's not an overpay. That's a fair price. Yeah. Like clubs are in different positions depending on where they're at in, where the squad's at, where they're finishing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like City needed to overpay for Anderson. I'm not going to sit here and say we didn't overpay for Anderson. Anderson's probably a fucking 75, 80 million pound player, in my opinion. But we needed to overpay for him because we needed him. I've watched this midfield for 2 years in a row have the same problems. And Anderson, for me, fixes that issue. So for me, it's worth the overpay. For example, striker at Manchester City, we need a backup striker. We wouldn't overpay for a backup striker because they're not going to play that much. I've got Erling Haaland up front. So on that one, I'd probably try and do a little cute deal. It all depends on the player. Like you say, it's different depending on the team. And equally, you've done that a little bit with Mamouche because he's on 300k a week and he's really hard to move on right now because he hasn't done the business. And this is a good question. This is a good follow-up question, though, from Menace Society. It says, what if the club and scouts see the players as a fit for the club? Well, now you're talking my language.
And this is where I called out Man United fans when it came to the situation with our transfers this summer. And again, I know I'm right, not because I'm smarter than everybody else, but because what I'm saying is grounded in logic and not hypocrisy. So I agree with you. I'm putting my view on Man United right now is I'm trusting the scouts in the sense of I might not like the player personally, but I'm going to go, okay, if the scouts like him, I'll be open to it and open-minded. That's just my approach as a person. Now, if Man United scouts believe that Matheus Fernandez was worth the 85 million, I disagree, but they think he is. And I heard a lot of United fans say that to me. I said, hang on, mate, you said he was a 40 million pound player. You're now fuming we didn't spend 85 million. But the club wanted him, Terry. So the club saw him as a top target, so they should have done it. Cool. If that's your stance, I can respect it. Next signing we'll make is Santos. Oh, we've massively overpaid for him. 50 million is far too much. But the club think he's worth it. But I don't. Hang on. So when it's like, so you're basically creating a situation here where when you can moan about everything, you can moan that we didn't overpay by saying, well, the club liked him, so they should have done. And then when we do sign a player, you can moan subjectively because you don't like him. That doesn't make any sense. I will give you my personal opinion, but also look at it from the club's point of view and perspective. And there are some players that you overpay for. There are some that you don't. You don't go out and buy a third choice midfielder. So even if you go for a kind of Sanderberg, say like you sign a Sanderberg level player. Say you want a Sanderberg, you pay Sanderberg money, 25, 26, 27 million. You don't go and spend 60 million pound on a 25 million pound player. That's for me the difference here. No one says you shouldn't spend big. With Elliot Anderson, I actually think 116 million pounds pretty fair subjectively, because I really think he's brilliant. I think he's going to be an amazing player. I actually think Adam Wharton is also a player that should be getting a lot more attention from Premier League clubs this summer. The amount of progressive passes this guy plays, by the way, in a team that sits back in quite low blocks, so he's passing from deeper positions. I think with more room to maneuver in, he could be even better. I would be very happy for Man United to pay 60, 70, 80 million pound for a player like that. So it's not about not spending. It's about getting value for your money. I don't want to spend 90 million pounds on players like Anthony anymore. We're linked to a player today. I'm going to butcher his name. I think it's Jorge Salinas, who's a 19, 20-year-old young Spanish fullback, highly rated by all accounts. I read some old scouting reports on him from about 6 months ago. And United are looking at him as an option, 18 million pounds, an alternative to Lewis Hall. And I'm not against that. I don't want all of our players to be young and raw because that's ridiculous. But I think some should be, if the scouts rate them. Why? When PSG went out and were signing Doués of this world and William Pachos at 21 years of age, they've turned into brilliant players, but you do a mixture. And we've done that this summer. We've got a youngster in Santos, who I think is very talented. We've got a really good bit of experience in Yuri Tillemans. If you then go and sign a Manu Kone, but then the left back who signs young and raw, I'm cool with it. Equally, if we sign a young and raw midfielder to be developed, but then save money, but then go all in for Lewis Hall, I'm happy. The mixture is there. And I just think the problem with football fans is they think everything's just, I do think it's computer games. If I'm honest with you, LB, I think it's computer games. I just want to go out and very quickly buy the 5 players I want in June and then simulate the rest of the summer and start the season. And it don't always work like that. I think we've got to be really mindful of it, my friend. Let's jump into some more of these super chats here. LB, Spurs overspent due to the fear of being food chained.
Well, they might have done, bro, but the fact is they needed players in because they finished in the relegation areas 2 years in a row. So they had to buy players. They had to. It's irrelevant. They overpaid, but, you know, are Spurs fans unhappy? You ask a Spurs fan now if they want to send Tonali back or they want to send fucking Fernandez back because they overpaid. They're not going to say, like I say, sometimes you have to overpay. The reason is irrelevant.
LB, I can see you signing Enzo Fernandez personally. What's your opinion if that did happen? Hit the like button, people, and big up the Terrace.
Yeah, you know what, bro? I think you might be right on that one. You'll know better than me, innit, because you're a Chelsea fan, but I think Chelsea fans been telling me that he got on quite well with Maresca. So apparently they have quite a good relationship. Listen, I've always been a bit sus on this Fernandez guy, yeah, like on his performances. But from what I saw of him last year, I thought he actually had a pretty decent season. Again, I didn't watch every Chelsea game, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I did. But I thought he had, you know, when I watched him, he looked all right. I think he can be quite inconsistent at times. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm not watching every single Chelsea game. As a player, I wouldn't mind him. My problem is, yeah, like he's got baggage, serious baggage. I think the way that he treated Chelsea, who give him a big break, by the way, they spent a lot of money on this guy to get him out of Benfica. And I think the way that he's treated Chelsea is very disrespectful. You've got the racism situation, twerking for Real Madrid. I think that he's obviously a player that does come with baggage and, could risk dressing room, that type of thing. So, I don't know, man. I'm torn on it, but this is why I don't understand why we just go for Bruno. Because you could have gone and got Bruno and had none of the baggage. You get none of the baggage with Bruno. Well, this guy get baggage. I know he's younger and that.
I can't lie, LB. This is why I'm so happy we went and got Tielemans 35 million. I think for the price, excellent. I don't think he's as good as Bruno G. I wouldn't make that claim. Enzo Fernandez, I don't think there's much difference between the two. I don't think Yuri Tielemans and Enzo, I don't think there's a huge deal of difference between the two players. Plus, you don't get the baggage with it. And the baggage, I agree with you, is just, you don't want it at your club. Do you know what I mean? It's horrible.